recording to the cloud. So anyway, it's my pleasure to introduce, first of all, Mark Ailes. He's from Lombard, a retired science teacher, physical sciences. He tells me he's taught physics and other things at the high school level. So, and I met him at a Citizens Climate Lobby meeting a couple of years ago, and was fascinated by his grasp of issues involving policies for climate change and how we can address that. He's being assisted by Laura Huell from Warrenville, who's active in the Sierra Club, the DuPage Clean Energy Coalition, a retired librarian. I forget which library.
Charles.
What's that?
St. Charles.
St. Charles, okay. So these are people who are sharp and smart and have been active in various environmental efforts to push us toward a better world. So I'll just turn it over to Mark now so he starts with his slideshow. And I had to make you a co-host, of course. Forgot to do that.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks everybody for coming today. I appreciate seeing everybody here. And I'm going to put something here in the chat too. A link that we may use in groups in a little bit. I have to put it in the chat now so everybody can have access to it, especially the people that may be like hosting those groups. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen so I can get started. And where are we? There we are. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a simulation that I'm going to show you today from En-ROADS, and of course Laura and I are from Citizens Climate Lobby. So I just wanted to share quickly a couple of the similarities between our goals and Sierra Club's goals, or our values. So both Sierra Club and Citizens Climate Lobby have a lot of inclusion. We are nonpartisan. We respect and appreciate people and what they're doing, and particularly politicians. And we are relationship driven and have a lot of integrity and look for effective solutions based on science. So both are environmental organizations. Citizens Climate Lobby is focused on finding a solution to climate change, whereas Sierra Club has a more broader appeal. But I'm not here to do a presentation for Citizens Climate Lobby today. I just wanted to know where we come from. I'm here to do a presentation that is developed by En-ROADS, Climate Interactive, and it's a simulation software that will simulate possible solutions to the climate problem. So the agenda today is just an introduction, and then we will go through some scenarios for climate success, and then we'll debrief. So here's the introduction. So this is what the simulator will look like when we get to it. You can see on the upper left, there's some different colors there that represent different sources of energy in the world. And on the right, you see a temperature graph going up to 2100 that shows what would happen if we don't do anything different. And last time I did this presentation, it went to 4.1 degrees, and now it's going to 3.6, so it's been updated. So there's been some success, maybe not all for good reasons, but that shows that the sooner things are done, the better. But let me tell you something about this simulator. It is developed by the most recent and best science based on the science of climate scientists all over the world. But it's a compromise, because any simulation of climate is going to be complicated and it's going to take a long time to run. Good models for simulating the world's climate involve calculations that take hours and days sometimes to complete. And obviously, a simulator that did that would not be effective for a group to use. So it's a compromise between speed and complexity. Now, why do this? Why do a simulation? Well, this famous quote from Buckminster Fuller, if you want to teach people a new way to thinking, don't bother trying to teach them. Instead, give them a tool, the use of which will lead to new ways of thinking. So there's a famous quote, research shows that showing people the research doesn't work. The reason is because people don't want to be told things. They want to figure them out themselves. So if you give them a tool to use and then they can use it, you're a lot more likely to convince them. So En-ROADS, this particular simulation has been used all over the world in 65 countries, thousands of participants. And I know Sierra Club is very familiar with the need to do something about climate, but just very quickly, I'm going to run through reasons that need to be done. This is one of my favorite graphs that shows how, yes, CO2 levels have gone up and down throughout history, but in the last 150 years, they've shot up to levels that we haven't seen in 800,000 years. And more importantly, perhaps, the steepness of the graph. You can see that CO2 levels are not only changing, but they're changing so rapidly compared to in the past when you've had what seems like abrupt changes. They still took thousands of years rather than 150. And then here's the emissions of CO2 since 1850. And these are the different types of carbon emissions and pollutants cause greenhouse gas effects. And finally, you can see that all these things mirror the rise in temperature that we're experiencing. Okay, so this is where we're at. We're headed for 3.6 right now. And according to the Paris Agreement, we have to get to no more than 2 degrees and preferably 1.5 degrees would be the goal to only increase that much. We're already here at about a little over 1 degree. So we've got to turn this line around somehow.
May I just interject?
Please, Laura.
Okay, when he refers to 3.6 degrees or trying to hold the increase to 1.5 degrees, you were talking about global average temperature rise. So we would like to try to find a way to keep the global average temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius.
Celsius, correct. Okay, so the main points I want to make about the simulator, that this is worldwide. So we're going to simulate changes that would have to be worldwide. So in order to look at the worldwide temperature, we have to have worldwide changes. This particular model is very transparent. You can adjust different levers and stuff that we'll see, but also you can actually look and see at all the assumptions that were made to produce this model. That it's and you can even change some of the assumptions if you wanted to. And this model is available for anybody. So you can go on the internet and after we've done this presentation, if you want to play with the model, you certainly can. It's free and available to anybody who wants to try and use it. And although it's a compromise between the more complex models, because it needs to have speed, so it's simpler, it's been tested against those models and generally lands in the midpoint of those models. So it's not overly optimistic and it's not overly pessimistic about the future. So it's a compromise between speed and complexity. Okay, so now it's time for some climate scenarios. So this is what you'll see is the control panel. And if you look here, you'll see, I don't know if you can read this here, This is energy supply and the different types of energy supply we have: coal, oil, natural gas, nuclear. And then it has transportation. These are things that we use energy, of course, for. And then buildings and industry use it, and growth. We can change all these things, all these factors. There's land and land use and industry emissions. There's coal removal. So there's all these different areas, and there's levers underneath them that we can change and see what effect they'll have. Our objective today is to get to 2 degrees, or even under 2 degrees if possible, by the end of today, so that we, by 2100, meet our Paris goal. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to, if we can, split into groups, 3 groups. And so Jeff, if you could put us in groups, and the goal, while Jeff's looking at how to do that or setting us up, our goal is you're going to look at this control panel in your group, and you're going to think about things that you've done in your community or in the state or just in your own, and what those things, what you think they might effect they might have on reducing emissions. And so you're going to pick 3 things and prioritize them in your group. You pick 3 things that you want to pull the lever and to see what happens. And then after you make that discussion and make that decision, we're going to meet back together again, and then we're going to start pulling levers and see what it does. Okay, so the control panel that I'm showing here is in the chat, so that any of the hosts hopefully can pull that up on the screen, so you'll be able to see it when you get in your group.
Mark, how many rooms? 2 or 3?
So I'm thinking 3 rooms for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Is there supposed to be, I'm not seeing a URL for this in our chat.
Really? I put one in right at the beginning. Or
You know, I might have joined like a minute late or something.
Oh yeah, if you came in late, you probably don't see it. But
yeah,
if you, as long as the host can share their screen and show it, you should be okay.
Mark, I don't see it at all either.
yeah. Why don't you just put it back in there again? It would be more helpful
Absolutely.
that way.
I'm going to stop my share for a second. And let's go back to the chat. And oh, you know what? I don't think I returned.
Oh, there she is.
Sorry, that was my fault. I put it in the chat, but I didn't hit return.
It's convenient right at the end now. That's great.
Okay, good.
Good planning, Mark.
Exactly, that's why I did it.
Trying to see where I put myself. That's weird.
You may just come up, or maybe you won't be in a group.
Huh. Almost forgot Wendy. Okay, so there's 4 people in each. So we'll see if I end up in a group or I'm just sitting out here nowhere.
Okay.
I think I click open all rooms and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, open. There we go. Okay, join. Okay, I'm going.
Oh, we're back.
Are we back?
Yeah, but we're the only ones that are back.
Oh, okay. Are we in the main room? I guess we. Oh, everybody else took more time.
Suck everybody back into the main meeting.
Well, we're so because we are
Close
so
the
efficient.
breakout rooms. Can we
Chris didn't come back though. Is she back in our breakout room? I don't know. We don't know how to go back there.
Well, I
Oh, well,
don't know what,
I assume
I'm
they'll be
not sure
coming back
what's
soon.
going on. I wonder if I should try to communicate with Jeff.
Well,
Liz is
they'll
not
be,
in here.
I think it wasn't just quite time.
Well, okay.
I hope.
Hmm.
Oh, you could text him.
I'm gonna get my phone and try to text him.
All righty. I have the committee hearing on my phone going while we're, and
Oh.
I just checked and they're still talking about CJ.
Oh, okay.
So
I filled out the witness slip.
thank you so much for doing that. You're
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm part of the Climate Reality Chicago chapter because we really down here don't have much stuff going on. Really, it's kind of disappointing. Even with all the students, we don't. I mean, the Sierra Club.
I know Alice
you
could
know-
use more support, and we're trying to get
Oh,
her.
she
there.
roped me into it. Last year she roped me into it. Yeah.
Go Alice.
But I'm already in so many different things.
I hear
And
you.
I mean they'll do like lobbying, which isn't really my forte. And they like to do happy hours. So we do Zoom happy hours now. And then, pre-pandemic, we did some hiking and stuff like that.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody.
I think we got all 13 people again. That's
Oh,
good.
awesome.
Oh, I
We
I
made,
thought I lost you there for a minute.
hey,
Yeah, I think
Jeff,
Laura got knocked offline. I think I had to readmit her somehow.
oh, hey, Jeff, congratulations. That's the first time you've done breakout rooms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, went very smoothly. Nice job.
Well, the controls are pretty good, actually.
Awesome. Okay, so hopefully from your group, you've got some choices of levers you want to pull. And I'm going to
Mhm.
share my screen again. And we're going to, well, actually, I think I have to get my, I have to get the thing up first, I think. Where's my presentation? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen again. And- Okay, can you see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try and make it bigger.
It's pretty big on us.
Okay, good. So there it is. And Sharad asked a good question about what happens if you try to eliminate something. How is that going to affect other things? If you eliminate coal, where are you going to get your energy? And that's what the climate simulator should take care of. So if you look at this on the left here, this graph, this shows the global primary sources of energy. The brown here in the bottom is coal. The red is oil. The blue is natural gas. The green is renewables. The pink is bioenergy. And then there's a little line on here just above that is light blue, and that is nuclear. Sharad asked about hydroelectric, and hydroelectric must be so small that it didn't make the cut because I don't see it on here at all. But in any case, then here's the graph that shows the temperature range that we're going toward. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Jeff, why don't your group start? Do you guys have a lever you want to pull?
Well, let's see. We talked about reducing coal and like taxing the crap out of it, I think,
Okay.
to the max, and just that's one. We had several ideas, but that was one.
Okay, we're going to take one from each group at a time. Okay, so you want, your first choice is to tax coal?
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the lever here to tax coal. Before I do, what do you think is going to happen to this graph here? What's going to change? What color?
Brown is going to
Brown.
reduce.
Brown's going to get smaller. Do you think anything else is going to happen to the other ones?
Oil will get bigger
Why do you think that?
to replace the coal.
Okay, let's try and see what
I
happens.
think gas might get bigger because they love frack gas.
Natural
Maybe
gas,
yes, yeah, maybe that's more likely.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
let's
okay.
make a debate.
Cool. All right, here we go. We're going to tax the crap out of coal here. Very highly taxed.
A lot.
Okay, so this is not taxed. This is taxed.
Oh,
You can see
Just came down.
that there it is not. So there's brown, there's less brown. And it looks like our total energy consumption also went down.
mm-hmm.
And maybe the green got a little bigger. Did it make any difference in the temperature?
A
Little.
A little
smidgen.
bit,
It did. It did. It went down how much?
0.1.
0.1. Okay, so it made an impact, but maybe not as big an impact as we thought. Okay, Laura, what about your group? Is Laura there?
The gal from Champagne
Yeah.
was going to be our speaker.
Okay,
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I didn't know what group we were.
Nan,
Okay,
I think.
So-
Well,
And there you go.
so our number one is population. Get their population way down.
Okay, so we're going to reduce
What we
our
do-
population growth, right? Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'll put coal back here in a second, but I
Yeah.
want to know just what happens if we reduce population. Okay, predictions? How many degrees do you think it's going to go down if we reduce the population?
Hopefully a lot.
Hopefully a lot.
Yeah.
What effect do you think it'll have on the colors on the left?
Well, it's going to go down because you're going to have less
They might-
people consuming stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
they
that
would,
makes sense.
but
If we have fewer people, then we'll have less energy demand. So we would think that the colors would go down. Okay, so here's
unless the fewer people decide to use more.
that's I suppose that's
happens.
possible.
Well,
right, so
because
here-
they're wealthier, maybe, because I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so this is population growth. So the population is growing, so we're going to reduce the growth rate. Okay, so here we go. Let's reduce it significantly. And it looks like just what you said happened. The total energy demand went down. And we cut it how many degrees?
10th.
A tenth again?
Mhm.
It's not very
Okay.
much. Well, I was
Not very
talking about
much.
not cutting down growth, but like actually negative population.
Okay,
Is that
that's a
an
great
option here?
question. It's a great
Yeah,
question.
because no, I'm
And,
talking about halting the growth. We need a lot less people on the earth than currently.
How are you
yeah,
going to
yeah,
do
that's
that?
right. And there's ways
Yeah,
to
good
do that.
question. How are you going to do that?
There's ways to do that, but the
Well, you know, if we don't do it, Mother Nature's going to do it for us. That's all I can
you
say.
might be right, man. You might be right.
Pandemic is
So,
helping out.
so that
Mhm.
brings us to some of the limitations of the simulation. So that's a good point, Nan. That brings us to.
I mean, I've been on webinars with scientists recently who are talking about like the Earth only supporting at maximum 1 to 2 billion people. So
Uh-huh.
a lot less people. And there was one scientist who talked about to like get so that wildlife could come back. He actually talked about like 50 to 100 million. So yeah, that's kind. I know it's kind of drastic, but
Yeah.
that's what I was talking about, not just halting the growth.
Yeah, that's right, Nan. And that's a very good point. And but it does bring us to the limitations of the simulator.
Okay.
So the simulator, what the simulator does is they look at the past. They said, okay, how much historically have we ever been able to reduce the growth rate? How much historically have we ever increased the growth rate? And then if we do double that, historically. If we do triple that historically, so they're not going to do something that is never been done before, and they don't see any possible way for it to be done in the next 80 years, if that makes sense. So they're looking at growth rates that are conceivable according to the scientific models they've established. Now, as you point out, if you have worldwide disease that wipes out half the population, that's going to be a much bigger impact than what this simulator can show. But I can actually look at that if you want.
Can I chip in here for a second?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not very surprised when you reduce the population, because I think there's a big factor. The majority, the highest usage of resources are by the distribution is very skewed.
Yeah.
That's true too. That's
very
true
few
too.
people use most of the resources. So if you look at the Western countries, I mean, they use probably 70% of the resources, whereas
Yeah.
Africa, they hardly use any resources. So I don't know, the distribution is kind of skewed. So what impact that has is not very linear, so.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's a
true.
great point too. Thanks, Sharad. Yeah, excellent point. All right, so now let's see if we did both. If we did both, we reduced the population growth to a level that is very low historically, and we also very highly tax carbon, then we reduce it quite quite a few points there. So if we go back here and look at what happened. So again, the coal went down, and the amount of energy went down. But I have a question. We taxed coal very highly taxed it, and it went down, but then it went back up a little bit. Why is that? See that? It went down until about 2050, and then at about 2060, it started to go up a little bit, very slowly.
I don't know.
Because population kept growing.
Population kept growing, so there's still a need for energy. So even highly taxed, it became economically palatable, I suppose.
Or
if you
other
don't-
sources of energy were being used to make it go up. That
Yeah,
mean, if you
you're
were-
right. You're right.
take up the slack.
Yeah,
If you
the
were
other
to
one
in-
picked up the slack, but I just saw that the brown, I mean, not very much. It's
Oh, the
almost
brown
horizontal.
itself went up.
Yeah,
Right.
not
Yeah.
very much.
But if you increase the renewables, then the brown probably doesn't.
Right.
If you increase the renewables a little bit, it flattens the brown out more. But
Looks like Mark got frozen there.
Oh no, we did.
uh-uh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Okay, Laura, take it away.
Is he still connected or what's going on?
No, I have to
What? But we still see the slides, so that is
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, yeah. And
What, can we go to our third group? I don't have I don't have.
yeah, you can't
the,
control it.
Yeah, I don't have the
Whoops.
Yeah, this is
connection
good.
to the
Yeah.
He'll sign in again. He signed
when I
up.
got booted off, I lost my link to the En-ROADS.
Oh, yeah, that you lose everything in the chat, right?
Yeah.
But we were talking about electrification of vehicles.
Yeah, we had that as a sort of an important one too.
Yeah.
Transportation sort of generally, electrification and efficiency. I think that's what's on the,
We should play with that next, see what happens.
yeah.
Mhm.
If you
So
can.
if you're a host, who's ever a host could click the link and would it be live for you then?
Yeah. Jeff, do you want to do that and then share your
And then
screen?
share your screen, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Mark.
Click the link in the chat. By then, Mark will be back, but
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Well, there's a control. It's the control. I didn't click on it before.
It's the control panel. It's not the actual link to.
No, it's the a PDF file.
Oh, okay.
oh, I have big news. I just got big news. CJ passed
Yeah.
out a committee.
Yeah.
All right. Yay.
Wow, that's great.
Checking chat again here. Let's see if I can find.
Mm.
Hmm. No, I don't. Oh, here's Marky. I gotta let him in. Haha.
Oh, is Mark coming back?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are sorry, everybody, for the Zoom technology world of insanity.
That-
We're doing
okay.
our best.
Sorry.
I have two laptops, and one laptop is flawless with this, and the other one, it just drops, and I don't think it's the
Oh.
signal from the router. I think it's the computer itself.
Hey, Mark,
Hi.
you had to go get did you go get a glass of wine or something? What's up?
Not supposed to? Yeah, sorry. I cleared my I checked my computer this morning to make sure it had all the updates, and it still did its own thing.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Anyway, we've sort of figured what we want to pull next. That would be
Yeah.
stuff
we're-
related to
We're
transportation.
ready with your next lever.
Okay, well, let's get the thing back up here.
Fran, while they're doing that, you're from Riverside.
Yes.
Have we,
Mhm.
Andy, Nancy Hagan, her husband Andy, and I were from Riverside too. So
Oh, that's
it's a fun
nice
connection.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Well, there,
Andy's
Fran?
do you know Maplewood Road? The circle
Yes.
road? Yeah. Andy's from that neck of the woods.
Ah,
And I was over by the police station.
sorry.
Okay.
Okay. here.
And are you a lifelong Riverside resident?
Well, we've been here about 35
Pretty long.
years, so not lifelong, but
Okay.
yeah, a while.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Stick around.
Oh, you gotta make me a host again, I think.
Oh, I forgot.
I'm stalling for them. So by any chance, did you go to the Pres Church? That's where Andy and I grew up. In the Presbyterian church over there by the pond. No.
Oh, yeah. No, oh, I know where that is. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I
There
love
we
the
go.
area.
Sorry, Mark.
Okay,
All right.
enough small talk. Sorry, everybody. But we digress.
There we
Okay,
Yay.
all right,
go. Okay.
I'm back. All right. Okay, so we've got a ways to go. We're at 3.4, and the next lever we want to pull, it was what, Jeff?
Transportation,
Efficiency
electrification.
or electrification?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try that. So we're going to electrify the transportation sector. Ooh, that made
Ooh.
another 1/10 of a degree.
Ooh,
Yeah,
look at that.
And what did it change over here in the energy?
Coal's down.
Mm.
Oh,
Ooh,
renewables.
oil.
Coal went up. Why
The
did
oil
coal
went
go
down.
up? Why did coal go up?
I don't know.
To
Because
create
you have to power the electricity to charge those vehicles.
right.
And where do we get most of our electricity?
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of the world still uses
Worldwide, where do we get
coal.
most of our electricity?
From coal.
Yeah.
Oh, oh my gosh, that's right. So that it made a difference, a little bit of a difference, but it also increased the coal. All right, so our first choice was energy efficiency transportation. So we're gonna do that.
Okay.
We're gonna try
Yeah,
to-
we were talking about that in our group too.
Okay, cool. So here
Yeah.
we go. And oh, that made a difference. That dropped
Well,
our
that's
energy consumption, didn't it?
Ah,
Wow, okay.
Now, are you purposefully leaving the other ones on also as you see the difference this is going to make?
Well, I am this time because our goal is to
Okay.
get to 2 degrees. And clearly we're not going to make it unless we do more than one, pull more than one lever. At least that's what apparently right now, because so far our levers are only making a tenth of a
tenth of a
degree distance.
degree.
So,
Yeah, we also had a discussion about nuclear energy, if we could ramp that up.
okay. If
And
we did that, what would happen to the colors here on the left?
Nuclear is the very skinny line there.
I
Okay,
think it would hurt coal a lot because
Yeah.
nuclear is base load power. It's like they crank them up and leave them cranking, and that's what they like to do with coal.
okay.
So they'd be
that's
direct
right.
competitors.
And if we subsidize nuclear, when do you expect that to have an impact?
In about
We thought it
15
might take a
years.
while
How come?
because it takes a while to build them.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens. All right, so
Hmm.
when we did that one, the blue line did get bigger,
Mhm.
but what got smaller?
The oil
What else?
and
Oh, the green.
The green got a little bit smaller.
color.
I
Not a
think.
lot.
So
Not
the
a lot.
renewables.
Yeah,
smaller.
competing.
That's not
with-
good. So one of the things we had was less methane.
Less methane.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something we haven't looked at yet. That's a good point. Let me try. I hate this. Okay, cool. All right, now I want to show you some. We have different views we can do. And one of them is greenhouse gas emissions. And you can see from what we've done so far, as you can imagine, the greenhouse gas emissions were going up, 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 up. And what we've done so far is we've sort of leveled them off at about 2030. 2030, the greenhouse gas emissions now are about steady. But you can see this blue line here for the greenhouse gas emissions. That is methane. And we haven't done anything with that. That's as thick, it's thicker and stays about the same thickness toward the end. So your suggestion is that we do something to help farming industry reduce methane production, among other things. So let's try that lever. Well, what do you think will happen?
If you reduce methane,
Yeah.
it should go down, right? The methane should go down.
All right. The methane, the blue will go down. What do you think will happen in the energy sector? Anything?
Not much.
Okay, let's try it. Yeah, you were right. Very little happened in energy, and the blue line did go down, and it made a pretty significant impact, didn't it? We dropped.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. Hmm.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, we're just good at this part. Mhm.
Okay, what else?
We didn't talk about afforestation yet. That's
Yeah.
a term I had never heard before tonight, planting more trees.
That's right, planting more trees.
Yeah.
That's the million tree plan that we've heard a little bit about.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens if we plant a bunch of trees. Oh, tenth of a degree. How come that didn't make a bigger impact?
Because we're still consuming and I mean, I don't know, we're still producing
And
everything
emit-
else.
Emitting.
Yeah. How long does it take to grow a tree?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
too.
years.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
so, but what's interesting is so afforestation, I mean, have they thought about looking at other things like hemp or king grass or something like that grows faster
That's-
versus trees? I don't
That's a
know.
good point. That could make maybe a slightly
I
different.
mean, and you
impact.
also have researchers working on developing plants that actually sequester more carbon than other plants. So like researchers like Joanne Chori. So they are doing stuff like that where plants that will draw down 6 times more carbon than the same type of another variety of the same type of plant.
That's
Like
right.
bamboo is supposed to do that, right? I think bamboo.
Well, I know that bamboo is a good one, but like, so Joanne specifically works on like, I can't remember what the name, it's a smaller plant.
Uh-huh.
And so she's looking at the same types of plants, but she's just choosing varieties that like draw down more carbon than the same, another variety of the same type of plant. I don't know if they're breeding bamboo to do that or not. I know she's working on, I don't remember, a small plant.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, one of the suggestions in my group that I promised that we'd get to, and we're getting a little later in the day here, was a carbon price. So,
Yeah, I suggested that one too.
okay, cool. So we're going to try a high carbon price and see what that does. Whoa.
Oh,
So that dropped it.
Hmm.
I think that's the biggest one we've had so far.
Yeah.
How about increasing renewables? Although it's not my turn.
Oh no, sure. We're at this point.
Passing CJ, how about that one?
All right, increasing
Because if you
renewables.
do a carbon price, it'll automatically force more renewables, I think.
Yeah, look at
Well, it
the
did.
graph here. Look at the green.
Yeah, the green gets
Mhm.
bigger.
Look
Yeah.
how big the green got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good
And
one.
yeah. And if we do renewables too,
No.
Nothing.
why?
Well, I think a tenth or something, not too much.
Mhm.
No, it didn't do
No, like
anything.
nothing.
Why didn't
Wow.
it do anything?
Well,
What
consumption
happened?
went up.
Why did consumption go up?
Because it's cheaper.
Oh,
There.
because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh, so we got more green stuff, but we used more energy.
Laura, what about what you suggested? Remember?
What about
Building
lower oil?
energy efficiency.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
building efficiency, energy
Mhm.
efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could do that. Ooh, that made a difference.
Hmm.
What about decreasing oil?
Okay, so if we tax some oil,
Oh,
how
that's
come
not
that
good.
didn't do anything?
Give it a natural gas.
Well, how come oil didn't do anything?
I don't know.
Well, you already taxed it with the carbon price, so
Yeah.
the price
Oh.
sensitivity is such that it wouldn't make an incremental big change.
Yeah, so can you put carbon price back and just decrease oil and let's see what
Sure.
that
Sure.
does? Because we've got like a lot of things open now.
Yeah,
so.
we do. Oh, 'cause-
Everybody's going to want to play with this afterward and solve it on their own.
exactly.
Okay, so that doesn't do very much. Okay, that's
Doesn't.
interesting.
Figure this out.
Not with all the other things in place, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So why isn't there a variable to decrease oil production just on its own, not taxing oil, but actually decreasing? Like,
Oh,
know,
how would you do that?
I don't know.
Maybe that's why it's not there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of theories that we have, reached. I mean, we're on the way down for the amount of oil that's actually in reserve too. So, but I was just wondering what that would do.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not in the simulation. I think they just assumed that if you taxed it, it would reduce its production.
If we left carbon price back in and then did more electrification,
Oh, we could electrify our buildings. Oh man, we're getting close now.
Oh,
Hmm.
I'm curious about under carbon removal technological, that's like putting it back in the ground or something?
Yeah, yeah. That's like using some technology to actually remove carbon.
That would be
Right.
the oil industry's solution. They would prefer we did that.
Let's see what it
We'll keep
says about
supplying you carbon that you can remove.
Yeah.
direct air capture, bioenergy with carbon capture, storage,
Okay.
and others. Okay. Let's try that. Hey, we
Ooh.
made it.
Wow.
We're under 2 degrees.
We just saved humanity. We
We
win.
just saved
Awesome.
humanity.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And how do you get all that done?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Have you ever played the game Pandemic? It's a board game where you fight a pandemic and you're in a race against time. It's so similar. It doesn't look
Yeah.
like this, but you're trying to work out a strategy for stopping a pandemic before it gets out of control.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes you lose.
Sure.
It's a
Close
cooperative
to real
game,
life.
worth playing.
I read a novel like that one time. It wasn't exactly fun reading.
So
Well, she-
Mark, how are you using this tool? And sharing, are you sharing with big groups or?
Yeah, this is only my second presentation, official presentation, but yeah, the idea is to show it to groups. So I think it's clear that that there's no silver bullet. There's no one lever you can pull that's going to fix everything. Probably the silverish most bullet, as we saw, is probably the carbon price. But even the carbon price isn't enough.
Right.
There's
I
more.
know. I say that to CCL people all the time. It frustrates me, that group, because they're just so focused on the carbon taxing.
Yeah, they are, and but you know, CCL does not think that it's. They think it's going to make a big difference, and apparently it will make some, but they don't think it's the end. CCL admits that you have to do more than that.
Definitely.
But that's the thing they're focused on. That's
Right.
Well, and if I can just add one thing, and I'm not gonna ride this too too far. The carbon price is a signal to the rest of the economy that fossil fuel is going to get more expensive. And it's not a carbon price that's going to dink along at some static low amount. It's a carbon price that has to rise. And then you'll see lots more hybrid and electrical cars because people will start to think this is worth it.
Yeah.
And people will start to do, businesses will start to look for cheaper energy because that's what businesses do. So that's why it's not the only thing, but it's a very significant step.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. But we're not here today to sell the carbon
No.
price. We're here.
No.
Yeah.
We're here to show that there's going to be there's a lot of things that need to be done, but it can be done. It is possible. So what I want you to do for the next 30 seconds, just give me 30 seconds. I want you to just think about what it would be like, what world would be like if we could do this. Okay, thank you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I want to get your feedback. All right. What would the world be like if we were able to do this?
Habitable?
Habitable, that sounds good. What else? What other comes to mind?
I think we'll have a
Quieter.
stronger economy. Sorry, Gene.
Stronger economy?
Yeah.
Who else?
Gene, you said something too?
I said quieter.
Oh,
Quieter,
yeah.
Oh, love that.
Cleaner air.
cleaner air. How
I
many
think
lives?
there might still be birds able to survive and migrate.
Uh-huh,
Reduce disease and death from
yep,
pollution.
Yeah.
And I'd hope we'd see a more equitable world.
yeah,
Mm.
good
We're
point,
all on an even playing field,
yeah.
somewhat.
Well, I think we'd have a sense of a global community that, everyone in the world is working for the same thing. And,
Yeah,
it could be a real unifying thing.
yeah.
Interesting.
One thing that I found hopeful about that graph, even though it took so many levers to accomplish it, was that if you saw the temperature line, it's going up and up, and then it levels off, and then at 2100, it's going down. The slope is down, which means that if we continue, that we could have a decreasing temperature increase, I suppose. So that was very positive. But of course, simulators, some people who make simulators understand that they will not bet their life on anything further than 10 years. And so it's a useful tool because it gives you some idea of possibilities, but it's not really intended to be a predictor of what actually is going to happen in 75 years. So many variables can change.
Did you see what Sharad said in the chat? I think that's a really good point because it's something we're experiencing so much.
What did he say?
Mhm.
Less catastrophic.
You want to say it yourself?
Fewer
He said less catastrophic events, or
fewer events like hurricanes or rising ocean levels and.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really important. The insurance industry has issued climate change as the greatest problem they're facing in the future because of that. Well, it's well after 8 o'clock, and I wanted to thank everybody for coming and participating. I really appreciate it. I remember that the person who put this together said that solving the climate problem is not going to be easy. It's going to be worth it. So let's keep working at it. And if you are interested, if you know of a group that would like to see this simulation presentation, you can contact me and I can do it for another group. I also have a presentation on how I became a climate activist that I could show you sometime if you're interested. And thank you very much for coming tonight. And if you have any other questions or comments, I'd be happy to hear them.
Mark, is your email in the chat?
It isn't, but I'll put it there.
Okay.
I was thinking we should show this to our elected officials,
yeah, definitely.
like a town hall, like have somebody sponsor it. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
They have done some presentation, the creators have done some presentations in Congress too.
Yeah, they did it to senators a year and a half ago or so. And there was a lot of senators or their staff that came and watched it and were impressed by it. Didn't create a lot of action yet, but
yeah. That's the frustrating part.
It is.
I think I've seen a picture of John Kerry at that workshop.
Yeah.
Have you seen that picture?
I don't. Maybe I did. I don't know.
I don't know if Climate Interactive uses it. I know I've seen it somewhere.
Senator Durbin just introduced a climate bill, a carbon tax, fee and dividend. Senator Romney just said he would support some bill in that nature. So seems like things are moving in the right direction. Of course, always too slowly. Any other questions or comments?
Well, thank you very much, Mark.
you.
Laura. That was a great presentation.
Really
I learned a
impressed.
lot.
Very
Thank
grateful.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank
I'm very
you.
grateful for all of you who joined us. You are wonderful. And the fact that you care about this, thank you so much for sharing this evening with us.
Thanks
Thank
for the
Thank you.
invitation.
It was very
Thanks.
interesting.
Thanks.
Have a
Take
good
care.
night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
all.
Bye.